So, you're investing in AI, but maybe you're not quite seeing the amazing results you were promised. If that sounds familiar, this training is absolutely for you. We're about to dive into the single biggest reason AI strategies fail, and I'm going to give you a clear step-by-step plan to make sure yours is a huge success. Let's get right into it.
All right, let's start with a fundamental truth that gets overlooked way too often. We all see the flashy AI tools and get excited, but what we don't see is what's happening behind the scenes. And that, my friends, is your data. The success of any AI, I don't care how smart it is, depends completely on the quality of the information you feed it.
You know that old saying, garbage in, garbage out? Well, it has never been more true than it is with AI. I mean, think about it this way. You wouldn't expect a Michelin star chef to make a gourmet meal with moldy vegetables, right? It doesn't matter how talented they are. If you feed your AI messy, inconsistent data, it's just going to spit out messy, unreliable results, only it'll do it at lightning speed. So here's our game plan for today. First, we're going to debunk what I call the AI glory myth. Then I'll walk you through a really simple 4-step process to get your data whipped into shape. We'll find the mess, build a solid foundation, and then turn maintenance into a simple habit. We'll wrap things up with a practical checklist you can use right away, and the one secret ingredient you absolutely cannot afford to ignore. This story might sound familiar. A company spends a ton of money on a powerful new AI tool, expecting it to work miracles, but they just end up frustrated. Look, if your shiny new AI is just giving you bad answers faster than before, the tool itself isn't the problem. The real issue is the chaotic data you're feeding it, and no AI on the planet is smart enough to fix that for you. So, where on earth do you begin? Well, it starts with a little bit of an honest self-assessment. Before you can even think about cleaning up the mess, you have to find it first. This step is all about doing a quick, honest diagnosis of where your data stands right now. First things first, let's talk duplicates. Be honest, how many times is the same exact customer sitting in your system under slightly different names? John Smith, J. Smith, John Smith, Inc. Every single one of those is a point of confusion for your AI, and it leads to skewed reports and just plain bad analysis. Next up, what about the stuff that's just missing? Are key fields in your system consistently blank? I mean, if you're trying to get your AI to segment your customers by industry, but that industry field is empty half the time, it's just not going to work. These gaps create huge blind spots, making any kind of accurate prediction basically impossible. And finally, let's talk about accuracy. I want you to really think about this. Can you tell the difference between verified, up-to-date information and some old guesswork a salesperson threw in 3 years ago? Because if you can't, I guarantee your AI can't either. It's just going to treat all of it as fact. Okay, so we've diagnosed the problem. Now comes the fun part, building the solution. This next section is without a doubt the most important part of this training. We are going to create the structure and the rules that will keep your data clean, organized, and useful for the long haul. We're going to tackle this in 3 really manageable steps. First, we'll decide what good data actually looks like for your team. Second, we'll pull everything together into one single source of truth. And third, we'll get it all organized logically so it's actually easy for people to use. Now, the key here is to keep it simple. Defining good data isn't about creating some massive 50-page rulebook nobody will ever read. It's about a handful of clear, non-negotiable rules. Like these examples, every single contact must have an email and company name, all dates must use the same format, the account owner field can never be blank. If you keep your rules this simple, your team will actually follow them. Next, it's time to end the data chaos. You have to stop letting critical information live in a dozen scattered spreadsheets and old forgotten folders. Your mission is to pick one system, your CRM probably, and declare the one single source of truth. Everything else either gets moved into it or it gets archived. No exceptions. And that brings us to something called information architecture. I know, it sounds like a really complex technical term, but it's not. All it really means is, how is your data organized? Are your categories clear? Are your field names intuitive? It's all about setting up your system so that both actual human beings and your AI can find what they need when they need it without any guesswork. And honestly, this is the perfect way to think about it. Fixing your data structure is exactly like organizing a messy kitchen cupboard. Before, it's total chaos, but afterwards, everything has a place. You can find what you need instantly, and you can see exactly what you're missing. You are literally transforming chaos into clarity. But here's the reality check. A clean cupboard doesn't stay clean all by itself, and neither will your data. This is not a one-time spring cleaning project. If you really want this to work, data maintenance has to become a regular, ingrained habit for your whole team. Here is a super simple schedule you can adopt right now. Every month, just run a quick check for new duplicates. Every quarter, do a bigger review of your overall data health. And once a year, archive all that old inactive data. Contacts you haven't spoken to in 3 years. This clears out the noise so your AI can focus on what's actually relevant. So, we've covered the why and we've covered the how. Now I want to give you a really practical tool you can start using the second this training is over. We've put together a simple AI data health checklist just for you. Think of it as a 5-minute scorecard that cuts through all the jargon and gives you an honest look at whether your data is really ready for AI. Use it to score your accuracy, your consistency, and your overall structure, and you'll know exactly where you need to focus your efforts. Okay, as we start to wrap up, I want to leave you with the single most important idea from this entire session. This is the one thing that truly separates the successful AI projects from all the ones that fail. So please, I need you to stop thinking of data cleanup as the boring prep work you have to suffer through before the real AI work begins. Cleaning your data is the real work. It is the secret ingredient. Getting this part right is what unlocks all of that power, all of those insights, and all of the efficiency you were promised when you invested in AI in the first place. So I'll leave you with this question. Your AI is basically a mirror, and it just reflects the state of your data. So I want you to look in that mirror right now. Is your data setting your AI up for success or for failure? The good news is you now have the power to decide. Thanks so much for joining me to this training.